Hi there. My name is Mardi Walker, and I'm an executive counselor with McLean and Company. And in my role, I work directly with senior HR executives as a trusted advisor, providing guidance and coaching. Over the past year, I've seen that there's a trend in the workplace that really stands out. And I'm sure you've seen it as well. And that's resilience. And that's why you're watching this video. It's a term that is being used a lot. So allow me to clarify what I mean when I talk about resilience. Resilience, as it turns out, it means different things to different people. And the definitions vary from the ability to withstand difficult conditions, to recover from setbacks, to personal qualities in overcoming adversity. So here at McLean and Company, we focused our research particularly on work resilience. So just bear in mind, this isn't about having a thick skin. It's not about having a high drive temperament. What it is, it's about you and the employees you lead having the behaviors, the mindset needed to thrive and grow in a rapidly changing and complex environment. So, okay, now we know what type of resilience that we're all talking about. And what I found really interesting is that our research tells us that resilience isn't something that you're born with, but it is something that can be developed with the right support and resources. So think of it like learning a new skill or training for a sport. Those things are really challenging to do. Like some days you feel like you're performing that skill or that sport really, really well. And then you get up the next day and it just feels like you're starting all over again. It's the same thing with resilience. It can be very challenging because it is something that fluctuates over time. But what resilience does is it helps people to adjust and adapt in the face of adversity. And it can allow both you and your employees to be more productive. The thing is, resilient people, they're not immune to change, but they're simply less disrupted by it. So that means they move through change more quickly and positively. And then therefore, they tend to be more productive during times of change. There's a study by Alieva that found that 53% of organizations, they reported fostering resilience allowed them to turn a potential crisis into an increased business opportunity. So think about this, that during the pandemic, there's been tons of examples. So distillers of alcohol, spirits, turned to making hand sanitizers. There are clothing manufacturers making PPE, the personal protective equipment. And how many businesses have you seen move or having to move from bricks and mortar to online? And for me, a particular example is a local restaurant that I have been enjoying during the pandemic and probably enjoying too much, but using it for curbside pickup. And prior to that, I wasn't even able to go there because the reservations were just impossible to get. But this chef, he adapted and he has done so well that he recently reported that his profits are close to 90% of what they were the year previous when he was fully open for dine-in. So I say that is a really good example of being resilient. So it's important to recognize as both a manager and a leader that both you and the members of your team may be feeling the same things. Everybody's dealing with a lot more stress, both at work and in their personal lives, as that boundary between the two of them has blurred. So look at me, I'm standing here talking to you. I'm in my home, but with two of us working from home and a child studying remotely, adaptation had to happen. So we take turns using the home office. Today is not my turn. And while I'm standing here talking to you, I know that the refrigerator is right over there. And that sounds really great, doesn't it? But if I turn and look at it or I hear the compressor turn on, it makes me think about food, which means then I start thinking what's for dinner, or maybe I think I'm hungry. And then I start thinking about what's in the fridge. And then I think, oh my gosh, do I have to go shopping? And then what if somebody else comes up and they want to eat and they make noise? But I can't think about that because I'm talking to you. And now I have to deeply breathe because that's stressed me out and I need to be resilient. But it's not just about people like me that are working remotely. The stress on those that continue to be at their physical place of work is tremendous. Think about frontline workers, teachers, people in manufacturing, hospitality, retail, working in warehouses. The list is really long. So although they may not actually use the word, employees feel that they have to build the resilience on their own. Many feel that it is solely on their own shoulders to manage their workload, to absorb change, to figure out how to be okay with uncertainty, and anything else that may impact their ability to perform. So now you know that impact of resilience. So the next question is, how do you help them and build that work resilience? So the challenge with it is that it feels intangible. It's complex because it's really impacted by both those personal and those work factors. And as I demonstrated, the stresses we experience in our personal lives, they can impact us just as much at work as the work stresses do. So when you think about it, you can say, okay, being open-minded and positive, that's going to increase the person's resilience. That's true. But for you as a manager, it's extremely challenging to impact an employee's mindset. However, you can directly impact behaviors because they are observable and measurable. So let's talk about 3 key work resilience behaviors and the techniques that support them. The first one is activating networks. So having a support network is key to building resilience. And helping employees create and develop networks within the organization is something that you can do. They can be things like employee resource groups or ERGs, which I'm sure you've heard that term a lot lately. They bring together groups of employees who gather to discuss and share experiences and resources around a common experience or trait. Or communities of practice, where the group shares an interest. Maybe it's technology, maybe it's a book club. Think about those different clubs you might have belonged to in school. That's the same thing. It's community of practice. I've joined a group of people at work that I didn't know beforehand. We share our fitness activity on an app, and it's really fun to see where people are running, they're walking, they're biking, and we get to know each other through that shared interest, even though we all live in different cities. And the second behavior is learning to learn. Being open to learning, not being afraid of failure, and learning from mistakes is beneficial for building resilience. And this is something that you as a manager can really impact. You need to be supportive on this. Share your mistakes and how you have learned. Arrange for training for your team. Maybe it's mindful techniques, training on managing change or goal setting. There's loads of options. And the third behavior is being flexible. Developing that ability to bounce back after a change, just go with the flow and deal with adversity. It really helps employees navigate change. And again, that's influenced by you as a manager supporting the team and modeling the behavior. And by the way, you can find these and many other techniques we have a catalog of resilience techniques. So now is the right time to act. Engage with your employees to understand the resilience support they need. You can craft a survey, organize a team meeting to talk about it, work on it together. And remember to build resilience in yourself as well. Think about the airplane and oxygen example. We're all told to put on our own oxygen mask first before we help others. The same goes for resilience at work. You won't be able to help your employees if you are not building resilience in yourself. Remember, resilience is not something you are born with, but it can be developed. And given the pace of change in both our personal and working lives in the current crisis, resilience is something we all need to help us fight change fatigue, adapt, and thrive in our environment. Thank you.